I'm Michele Susan Brown, author of This Kind of Silence, that was published on March 8th, 2019.
The book was so amazing that it gave me chills, and I have to read the book again.
It's the most amazing book. I'm not an avid reader, but this captured my attention. It was a page turner. I read it in a day, and it was just incredible.
I tell you what, it was even 10 times better than I expected, and I knew it was going to be a good book.
I have so enjoyed meeting people, potential readers, and even readers that have already read the book at a number of events. And what I love the most is the conversations that are coming out of this book. It's neat to talk about the book before people have read it and share kind of the timelines and the stories and the themes associated. But afterwards, it's even more fun to engage in meaningful conversations regarding questions and thoughts that people have, anywhere from how did you write the book and why did you write the book to tell me more about what you really did to heal. And one of the things that I love talking a lot about in sharing my experience is that it's not just a story about losing my hearing and regaining it. It's really about what that experience taught me and how it became a gift. How the fact that I learned after so much time looking externally for all the answers, that it was only when I turned my gaze inward that things began to shift.
Some of those deep, dark, delving places that you've had to go to, did all of those make it into the book? Or that process of writing, did you find that there was some that was just cathartic, but just not really good for the book? Was there a process where you actually said, this is too much, or this doesn't serve the story, or did it all actually end up serving the whole story?
Good question. It all ended up being in there. And some of those things, there were tough stuff that I thought, I don't know if I want to write this or go there, but those were the pieces that needed to be in there. Those really important ones are there, and I felt like this is such a book of vulnerability and truth and rawness, which is personal story, right? But it is those deepest ones that are in the book. And I think that was part of the journey and the cathartic parts for me. So there were pieces in here that I actually told for the first time. And I tell the reader that nobody else has known this, until now. The conversations that are opening up because of this book are what means so much to me. When people are saying they could relate, when people were saying, gosh, you've inspired me to do some things differently because I've kind of forgotten to take care of myself. There are so many women out there that are giving to everybody else, their family, their partners, their children, their jobs first, and putting themselves last. And I think some of the questions and conversations that come up are, what can I do to change that? How can I remember to put myself first and not see it as a selfish thing, but see self-care as a really important, vital part of long-term health.
So this came out on March 9th, which was Saturday, from an Australian reader who I think just read the book and not the audio version. She says, I did not stop reading until I reached the last page, a powerful and uplifting story which reminds us that we are all worthy. Michele's vulnerability is courageous and her honesty contagious. It makes me want to discover my own inner self. Thank you so much.
The response I've been so touched and so moved by cards, emails, phone calls even, or messages that I get about people saying that they loved the vulnerability and the truth, the rawness. A lady last night said, thank you for being truthful and risking that really raw part of yourself to help me look more closely at myself. And I think it's those kinds of comments that make it feel so worthwhile. And I've had a number of people talk about their own health issues. Some people have said, I've had some issues with either hearing or sight or taste. So, some of those critical senses. And others have said, gosh, I hadn't realized that I felt like I was kind of dying inside. And I'm inspired to look at how to change that. That means so much to me, that I've given an offering or an invitation of sorts to invite people to do it differently. I think that's what my goal is too, it took me a really, really long time to heal and to look inward for answers. And my hope is that maybe by offering my story, that people won't take as long to consider that might be the avenue to take. One of the great things about doing book launches for me is that the book was published in Australia by Joanne Fedler Media, and while we expected it to be released internationally, an international rights agent approached Joanne Fedler and was interested in representing the book and seeking other publications and perhaps a US publisher that would be interested. So in light of seeing what might happen with that exciting opportunity right now, the book that's available is the Australian published version of This Kind of Silence. And fortunately, while it's not readily available on Amazon or in regular bookstores in the USA yet, and it will be, I have plenty of the Australian published version. So I've been doing speaking engagements and book launches and being available at coffee shops or visiting book clubs to talk to readers and interested readers about the book.
There's so much heart and personal story to it.
The way she intertwines the stories from a trip she took to her hearing loss and flashbacks from her childhood are just tremendous. The way she describes things in vivid detail, you feel like you're there, especially on the trip, and you feel like you're kind of going through the journey with her.
It really gives pause for everyone to, look inwards and see what positive strengths you have, and it's just, I recommend it to everybody.
I've recommended this book to probably 100 people at this point, and it just came out a week and a half ago.
I have to read the book again, and I cannot wait to get the workbook that goes with it.